Jerusalem is one of the world's most famous cities, sacred to more than 3 billion Jews, Christians and Muslims. Right in the center of Old Jerusalem is a plot of land that is at the heart of the city's holiness and the source of its modern-day hell. But for the last 40 years, Palestinians and Israelis have waged a bitter battle for control of this holy site. A solution to its future is Jerusalem's most intractable problem.
The site has become a symbol for both Islam and for Palestinian nationalism. It's become a site that's more and more a flashpoint for tension between Israelis and Palestinians.
Jerusalem is holy, but it still hinders world peace. How is this possible? How did it come so far? It all started with Moses. He built a tent for God after they had fled from Egypt. The tent was meant to honor God.
The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.
Hundreds of years later, King David conquered Jerusalem. For the Jews, it is their capital city from that time on. King Solomon, son of David, was allowed by God to build a temple in Jerusalem. It was built on the top. Some 400 years later, the temple was destroyed. According to the prophet Jeremiah, this was because the Jews did not live according to the Torah.
Hear the word of the Lord. Amend your ways and your doings, and I will let you dwell in this place. Do not trust in these deceptive words. This is the temple of the Lord.
Some 40 years later, the Jews began to rebuild their temple. During the reign of King Herod, the temple was drastically modified. When Jesus lived, the temple was not finished yet.
No foreigner is to enter the forecourt. Whoever is caught will have himself to blame for a subsequent death. Through those doors, the sanctuary, if you look closely, maybe you see the golden menorah. At the back of the sanctuary is the innermost chamber, the Holy of Holies.
Only around the year 62, the temple was ready. Some 7 years later, the temple was destroyed by the Romans after a Jewish revolt.
An invincible army.
I will wipe them out of Judea once and for all.
In the year 619, the prophet Mohammed told that he had gone to Jerusalem. He said he ascended there to the 7 heavens. This was on the place of the former Jewish temple. In the 7th century, the Arabs conquered Jerusalem. On the temple square, they built the Aqsa mosque. Next to the mosque, the Dome of the Rock was built. This is a commemoration place for the ascension of the prophet Mohammed. After Mekka and Medina, this is for Muslims the most holy place. Ever since, the buildings have hardly been changed. Even the Crusaders kept it as it was. The Christians worship God in beautiful churches, but they have no buildings with a holy status like the Jews and the Muslims. The Apostle Paul wrote, "Your body is the temple of the Spirit."
And the Bible says your body is the temple.